So to finalise our track, we've got to bounce it to disk. So one of the first things I like to do is put a limiter on the master fader. Here's the master fader, and basically that is where all the tracks are sent to. Without a limiter, as long as you've got some sensible levels, it won't be peaking into the red. See, I've left myself some headroom there. And what I want to do now is put a limiter on and push it up to the maximum without distorting the track. So we've got a built-in limiter in Pro Tools called Maxim, and it has a threshold, a ceiling, and this attenuation. So I've set the ceiling to 0.3, minus 0.3 dB, which is where the limiter will hold any signal and it won't let it go above that. Therefore, it won't distort. And then the threshold is how much we push into that ceiling. But as you'll hear in a second, if I push it too much, it will start to squash it and be horrible. Let's have a listen. And even by pushing it too much, start to distort and sound horrible. So if I just push it to a nice sensible level, kind of pushed it too far and then brought it back a little bit, and you can see this attenuation. It's how much it's squashing the track to bring it up in volume. So just, we're getting about 5 more dB of volume there, which is cool to send. So when I send it to someone to work with, it's a nice loud volume. Otherwise, if you're sending someone a really quiet track, they are less likely to dig it. So the final thing, I need to select a start point and an end point. The end of this track's got quite a cool delay thing you'll hear. So I want to keep that tail. So when I'm selecting my beginning and my end, I'm going to just select it to cover the tail that finishes after the loops. Then to bounce to disk, all bits of software generally the same with this. Tend to go to file, and then it's usually a bounce to or an export. In Pro Tools it's bounce to, and you can see there's a shortcut which is Control Alt B. So it's always a good idea to try and memorize these shortcuts. There's mine, Control Alt B brings up this window. Got to make sure you've got your beginning and end points selected, which I didn't. And then select what type of file you want to do. If you're just emailing it to someone, to write to an MP3 is a good idea because it's not too big. Call it what you want, save it where you want, and hit bounce. That's the end of my Grime beat making video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, cheers.